Hey, Yak here. Hope you're doing well. And today we're back with some more Minecraft Dungeons. And today I want to be trying out your guys' Minecraft Dungeons builds. So I did a video like this about a month ago, so that's part one. If you haven't seen that, then I definitely recommend checking it out. Link will be in the description. And two things before we get started is one, I'm going to try to say your guys' names as I read out your loadouts, but I'm terrible with names, so if I totally butcher your name, I'm sorry, but hopefully you know who you are. Second thing is some of you guys listed your enchantments on your loadouts, but sadly I won't be able to try your loadouts with your enchantments because getting enchantments exactly how you have them is a pain. So unfortunately I won't be able to do it, but I should be able to get a general idea of how good your loadout would be. Anyway, let's get started. Okay, our first loadout is from Johnny, and they said their loadout was the Bone Club, the Fox Armor, and the Green Menace, and then for their artifacts they had the Enchanted Grass, the Soul Healer, and Satchel of Elements. So, like last time, I'm going to be taking this into just a soggy cave run real quick, just going to be testing it out how I would, lower the difficulty a little bit. And yeah, I'm just going to try this loadout out real quick. They didn't list their enchantments, which is fine, so I'm just going to be playing this stock, and let's see how it does. Ouch! Oh gosh, I just got wrecked. Electrified is brutal, especially when they have gravity pulse. Also, my armor is a little bit underpowered, which is the thing with trying these loadouts. All my gear isn't the same level, so I probably should have lowered the power level a little bit more so I don't die right away, but yeah, that's on me, not the loadout. I do feel like I've gotten a pretty good understanding just through this little bit, or at least some things that I do like about this loadout. One, I really like the bow. I think these bows that have ricochet and stuff are fun because I think they're just fun to like see them go like back and forth and stuff, like through all the different mobs, especially with this one where it produces poison clouds. I think is really fun. Okay, well, I died. Oh well. One thing that I will say is one, I feel like this is a little bit more beginning player loadout. They didn't list any of their like levels or anything, which is fine. But one thing I will say is one, Bone Club would definitely do better as a unique, as like a Bone Cudgel or something like that if you could get it. Obviously, you know, if this is beginning power level loot loadout, then obviously you maybe want to have it, which is fine. Second thing I will say, Soul Healer, I wouldn't personally use. I don't think it's very good with this loadout because this is the only thing that's getting you souls. You only have +1 souls. Nothing else is getting you souls, which, you know, is going to be making the Soul Healer quite hard to use, so I wouldn't recommend it. I'd rather use something like the Totem of Healing, because that's, you know, you don't need souls to use it. They're going to recharge, and you can probably use it a lot more than the Totem or the Soul Healer, so that's probably the one thing I would change. Also, personally, I'm just not a huge fan of the Enchanted Grass because this stupid Ice Sheep I feel like does not do really anything and is not very good. Overall, I would say this is a pretty solid loadout. I'm going to rank it, and I would say I'd probably say B tier, like low B tier. I think there's some things that could be better, but overall, pretty good. Okay, our next loadout is from Lord Force, and their loadout is the Cursed Axe, Wither Armor, and the Bowl of Lost Souls. Then for their artifacts, they have the Power Shaker, Ironhide Amulet, and Death Cap. And they did list their enchantments for their loadout. They also specified that this is currently made for multiplayer, which is good to know. But sadly, like I said, won't be able to try their enchantments, but I will keep them in mind. Also, it looks like their Wither Armor and Cursed Axe are 263 with Gilded, so obviously that would also make a very big difference in this loadout. Also, I do think Death Cap Mushroom pairs well with this axe because this axe without Death Cap is just, you know, it's not like super slow. It's not as slow as like a Claymore, but I do like the faster attack speed. I think it's fun. I like it. So one thing that I was thinking right off the bat is that I thought it was a little bit weird that this was kind of a soul-ish build with the Wither Armor and the Bowl of Lost Souls. But then it made a little bit more sense when I looked at enchantments because like they have the Anima Conduit and stuff on their bow, which would obviously make, you know, gaining souls worth it. So that makes a little bit more sense. So overall, I think I've gotten a pretty good feel for this loadout. And I will say that their Wither Armor has cooldown, which would be, you know, like maybe one of my critiques, because I think cooldown with Death Cap pairs really well because then you're getting that Death Cap back a lot quicker. They also have Snowball, which like Snowball can never go wrong on armor in my opinion. Snowball is great. Overall though, I think this loadout is really solid, especially for multiplayer wise, though I would say that I know Wither Armor is a favorite. I know it's pretty good. Lots of people like it. Though I would say if you're going for a multiplayer loadout, it would maybe make sense to go for something like a Fox Armor or like the Black Wolf Armor, where when you heal, it also heals your nearby allies, because, you know, that could be really good for multiplayer. Use the health potion. Everyone gets their health back. Could be great. But overall, I'd say solid loadout. Probably A tier. Okay, our next loadout is from Max Miller, and they're using the Starless Knight, Titan Shroud Armor, and the Imploding Crossbow. And then for their artifacts, they're using the Death Cap, Ironhide, and the Satchel of Snacks, which I don't think I've ever seen anyone use the Satchel of Snacks, so that's an interesting take. I'm going to be interested to try it out, because I don't think I've literally ever used this artifact, so I will be interested in that. And then they did list their enchantments. Enchantments seem pretty good overall. But let me hop into a level real quick and test it out. So obviously, can't go wrong with a Starless Knight in my opinion. It's my kind of daily use weapon is the Starless Knight. I love it. Does tons of damage. Especially pair that with a Death Cap Mushroom. We're going to be attacking so quick, so definitely pretty crazy. I still think that the Satchel of Snacks is still an interesting take. Right there I got an apple, but it fell off the edge, which is sad. But I think it just produces like one consumable. Let me look real quick. That way I'm not getting anything wrong. Yeah, crafts a random food item and throws it on the ground near you. So I don't know. For the cooldown stuff, I feel like you would be better off having a different artifact in my opinion. I'm not 100% sure on what for this build. I'd have to look at the artifacts and stuff. But I don't know. Even just like a Totem of Healing yet again instead of a Satchel of Snacks could be better for this loadout, because the cooldown's longer, but I feel like it's going to give you more healing. Because, like, dang, Apple second time in a row, Apple is not great for regeneration. Other thing is that on their Titan Shroud Armor, I think their enchantments are less ideal because they have Final Shout, which is, you know, pretty solid, not bad. You get low, your artifacts are going to get used pretty good. I guess I could see why the Satchel of Snacks would be there, maybe so you can get your health back, but at the same time, just use a Totem of Healing. And then they have Protection, which yet again, pretty solid. Always going to love that extra damage reduction. But then they have Death Barter, which is, I would not recommend, because then you're going to be needing like, what, 50 emeralds for that to be taken into effect if it's fully upgraded, which I don't know if I'd recommend. It does pair well. Let's see if I don't have it. But if you have like Lucky Explorer, then that does pair pretty well, because then you're getting the emeralds basically just from walking around, which is great. But without it, I don't know. I think you could benefit from a different enchantment maybe. I know Death Barter has saved my life a couple of times, but honestly, if you do like Death Barter, I would recommend maybe getting rid of Protection and going for Lucky Explorer, or something that's going to get you more emeralds, because then, you know, if you don't need the Protection if you're just going to be living anyway. So that's maybe one thing I would change, though still seems pretty good. Also, their Imploding Crossbow does have Infinity, which is great. Would totally recommend that, especially with the Imploding Crossbows and Exploding Crossbows. Their ammo use is going to be a lot lower than like my Harp Crossbow, so you're going to be getting a lot less arrows, so Infinity is definitely going to be super helpful. Okay, overall though, I would say that this loadout is probably, I don't know, I think there's a few things that they could change to make it better, but I'd say it's still like a pretty solid, just like middle of the tier, B tier. Maybe like slightly like low B tier. If you know, if there are tiers inside B tier, I'd say it's like middle B tier. You know, overall pretty solid. There's a few things that I would change personally, but still pretty good. Okay, next up we have Zenith. And their loadout is the Sheared Daggers, the Cauldron Armor, and the Veiled Crossbow. And then for their artifacts, they have Ironhide, Death Cap, and Gauntlet of Weakening. Yet again, we have a Death Cap and Ironhide combo, which is great. Gotta love it. Okay, so one thing that I will say is, yet again, they listed their enchantments, and I think their enchantments are really solid, especially on their Sheared Daggers, because they have Critical Hit and Radiance, which is always solid on daggers because they attack so dang quick. I mean, just look at that. If that had Critical Hit and Radiance, that'd be insane. I actually ran daggers like these for a while. I think they were Shear Daggers, and I think they actually had Radiance and Critical Hit when I ran them. I don't know what these ones got, though. Yeah, pretty insane. Oh, that fire hurts. Dang, I did not mean to walk into that. I will say though that their armor doesn't look like it has cooldown, which is always going to be a big negative for me, because cooldown I feel like is kind of a must-have when you're using the death cap mushroom, because it's going to basically let you get that death cap mushroom back right away, I believe. Though I'm pretty sure just one slot of cooldown, like if you upgrade cooldown all the way, it will let you get your death cap mushroom back before the first one even runs out, which is, you know, just insane, because then you're always going to be attacking quicker, which is really good. Though I didn't really use the veiled crossbow very much, because in my opinion it seemed kind of mid, because you can just get a chance to get shadow forms on kills, which is like okay, but not great in my opinion. The only reason I'd see myself using this is if you had the enchantment that when you came out of shadow mode, you did like extra damage or something. I guess if you go out of shadow mode, it will do extra damage on your next hit, I think. Let me kill one of these guys and see if I can. Yeah, so we'll do extra damage on your next hit, though it would pair better if you had an enchantment that also, like, you exploded when you came out of it or something like that. That'd be pretty good. Overall, though, I would say that this loadout is pretty good. Kind of getting cooldown is the one thing that I would change. Also, maybe switching out the bow, because in my opinion, you know, for me, don't love it. I would see a different bow maybe being better, but if you like it, then that's whatever. Overall, though, I would rank this loadout in probably B, maybe low B tier, because there are a few things that you could change, but still pretty solid. Really like the daggers, especially if I had the enchantments that they had. It would be just a blast to use. Okay, our next loadout is from LG's World, and this is pretty similar to, I believe it was Lord Force's loadout. They have the Cursed Axe, the Wither Armor, and then Floating Crossbow. I think the bow is the only thing that really changed, and maybe the Gong of Weakening. But they have the Death Cap, the Iron Hide, and the Gong of Weakening. They also said that they have like a God tier loadout that's really good, but you have to have insane RNG to get it. And the only thing that's different here is that instead of the Wither Armor, they are using some Mystery Armor. So if you didn't know, Mystery Armor is in the Jungle DLC, whatever it's called. This one right here, you can get it in here. And Jungle Armor, every time you get it, these two enchantments are going to be different. I think they can be really pretty much anything, but for their armor, they had to have 40% cooldown, or potion, 40% potion cooldown and lifesteal aura, and then it has Death Barter, Potion Barrier, Chilling, and cooldown, so it has to be gilded as well, which is insane, because you'd have to get that from an Ancient Hunt, I believe, which is also pretty insane. So yeah, I guess you just have to be insanely lucky to get that, so hence why I'm not trying their insane loadout, because, you know, my Mystery Armor is not going to be as good. Also, their Cursed Axe would also have to be gilded, as well as their Imploding Crossbow. So I'm not going to try that. I'm just going to try their pleb normal loadout. Sad, but I do, you know, I could see why their God tier loadout would be pretty good. If you want to read it, it's in the comments of my last video, but it seems pretty good. I'm going to be running this. It's pretty similar to not the previous loadout, but the loadout I tried before. So I'm just going to be, you know, testing it real quick, because I feel like I have a general feel for it, but let's see how it does. Okay, so overall, their loadout actually seems pretty solid. They do have cooldown on their armor, which is one thing that I was going to say if they didn't have it, would yet again recommend, because with Death Cap it goes pretty insane. Also, their Imploding Crossbow seems pretty good. It does have multi-shot, which I do think is pretty clutch on a crossbow like this, where, you know, the arrows are going to be doing a lot of damage. Though I would recommend maybe Infinity on it. Could be pretty good, because like I said before, with Imploding Crossbow is you're not going to be getting as many arrows, so Infinity could come in clutch with you with helping, not using so many arrows and not going through them as quick. So that's maybe one thing I would change, though. Getting and re-rolling for enchantments can be such a pain with the gold and stuff. It can get so expensive, so I definitely can see why you just stick with enchantments you got, because they can be such a pain sometimes. Overall though, I'd say that this loadout was pretty solid. I'd probably put it into A tier. There's not really much I would change besides, you know, maybe getting Infinity, but even then it's not like a must. It's just something that I think could maybe make it better. Okay, our next loadout is from Dado Wums, and they have the Frost Scythe, the Titan Shroud, and the Winter's Touch. And then for their artifacts, they have Death Cap, Torment Quiver, and Harvester. Also, they say that they're from Germany, which is super cool. Love that. Hope Germany's sick. Never been there, but you know, wouldn't mind coming. Would be cool. I don't know. Sick that I have a viewer from Germany. So, I don't know. Shout out to Germany, I guess. Also, yet again, they listed the enchantments. Sadly, can't use them, so I'm just going to be hopping in. Winter's Touch and the Frost Scythe, I haven't really used that much. Though, I'm not sure. Do they gather souls? Okay, Frost Scythe does, Winter's Touch does not, because one thing that I did notice right off the bat is you have 2 soul artifacts, so normally when you have that many soul artifacts, you're going to be wanting to get quite a few soul generating abilities, and this bow is actually kind of crazy. Dang, I like that it shoots 3 arrows, that's fun. On the Frost Scythe, they have the Anima Conduit and Soul Strike. I'm not sure what the last enchantment is, though I'm assuming it's a soul enchantment, which, you know, obviously is going to make this scythe a lot better if you have soul enchantments on it. Because, you know, the more souls you can get is going to be helping you a lot, especially with the Harvester. And also, I'm getting, what, 5 souls at a time, which is still pretty solid gathering-wise. They also would normally have multi-shot on this bow, which I think would be great because with, like the harp crossbow, the more arrows you shoot, the more likely multi-shot is going to be going off. So you could be shooting tons of arrows with this bow, or not ton, but you know, quite a few. I wish I had it on this bow because I'd actually try it out because I would be interested to see how good that would be. Though I'm assuming it'd be pretty good because it's already shooting 3 arrows, and you know, shoot even more arrows would be pretty insane, especially with the Torment Quiver. For the Titan Shroud, they just listed Final Shout, Final Shout, Chilling, and Bag of Souls. Which Bag of Souls is pretty good. Chilling is all right. I don't mind it, and they have Final Shout, which is also, you know, pretty solid. One thing I would recommend though, like with everything else, gotta get cooldown on there. I think that would help a lot because that Death Cap is going to be coming back quicker. But yeah, overall, still a pretty solid loadout. If I had the enchantments they had, I'd say pretty good. The one thing I would change personally is getting cooldown on that armor. Overall though, I'd say pretty solid. I'd probably put it in A tier, to be honest. Okay, but there we go. I've now ranked all of your guys' new loadouts that you recommended. If you want to see a part 3 of this, leave your loadouts down in the comments below. If you don't have any loadouts, if you already left your loadout, you know, just leave a fun loadout you'd like to try me see. It can either be, you know, something insane, or honestly, if you want to just leave something like a big troll, like a loadout that has nothing, or like just my fists, you know, leave that too. I'd still love to try it out. So if I get enough comments on this video, I'll do a part 3. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you are new, I'd appreciate if you subscribe. If you like the video, new videos every Thursday, and remember to stay jolly.